Barrow Creek, about 280 or so kilometres north of Alice Springs. Isn't much to the place. Like most little settlements along the Stewart Highway, it got its start as the site of one of the old telegraph stations. However, due to a lack of reliable water, no major settlement ever really started here. As of the last census, the permanent population of the town was 11. Despite this, it is arguably one of the creepiest places in Australia. A lot of very nasty stuff has happened here. Barrow Creek is probably best known for the disappearance and alleged murder of the British backpacker Peter Falcone. This happened in 2001. It's alleged that Falcone and his partner Joanne Leese were travelling through the night, and about 13 kilometres north of town here they had engine trouble. A man by the name of Bradley John Murdoch, who was a truck driver, was driving past them, and he pulled in, at which point he allegedly tied up Miss Lees and then murdered Falcone. Miss Lees managed to escape and alert the authorities after hiding in the bush for a number of hours. Falcone's body has not been found to this day, and Bradley John Murdoch has been convicted of the murder and has been in jail up in Darwin since. However, there are numerous conspiracy theories, shall we say, going around about the location of the body. It's allegedly at a well somewhere around here. It's also been reported that Murdoch took the body across the WA border, and there are reports of the body being dumped in Geraldton and even the Swan River in Perth. Unfortunately, the only person who knows where the body is Bradley John Murdoch himself. The case, of course, attracted international attention throughout the world. I knew about this case and of this place long before I ever came to Australia or even the Northern Territory. It was all over the news back in the day. Not the worst thing that's happened in Barrow Creek though. Not even close. Ever since the telegraph station was built it was probably in the 1870s, like most of them were, there was always skirmishes between the local Aboriginal people and the white settlers in the area. And things came to a head somewhat in 1928. A local dingo trapper, a white fella, was brutally murdered by a group of local Aboriginals. Obviously a very, very awful thing to happen. However, to say that the local police chief's reaction to this was somewhat disproportionate is putting it mildly. A fella by the name of Morrie, can't think of his first name off the top of my head. Anyway, he basically rounded up a posse, and in retaliation for the death of one white fella, they brutally murdered 70 Aboriginal people. 70. To top it all off, he was brought up to Darwin to give a please explain. And when asked why he hadn't taken any prisoners, his response was, "What good is a wounded black fella 100 miles from civilization?" He faced no charges and was actually considered a bit of a hero back in the day. That is extremely messed up. So that's Barrow Creek, home to some of the most messed up moments in Australian history. And I want to get out of here now because this place gives me the creeps. Just goes to show how poorly treated the Aboriginals were in Australia back in the day. The fact that 70 of them could be slaughtered mercilessly and no one would face any charges for it. That would be considered genocide in this day and age, and rightly so. It is appalling that things like that happened in this country and no one seemed to care. Of course, back then, Aboriginal people weren't actually classified as humans. They were actually legally considered fauna for a long time. You know, it would be the same as shooting a horse. People might go, ah man, what did you do that for? But let's face it, you're probably not going to do serious jail time for it, are you? Oh, and speaking of horrible things that have happened in Barrow Creek, about 18 months ago I was driving from Tennant Creek to Alice one Friday night when I saw a caravan which had jackknifed, rolled over and burst into flames, killing the elderly couple who were driving it. Wasn't the nicest thing I have ever seen in my life, to put it mildly. I don't know what it is about this place, but it just seems to attract death. Anyway, we'll move on to something a little bit more light-hearted. Of course, pretty much anything is more light-hearted than Barrow Creek. It's Boxing Day / St. Stephen's Day today, and I have met approximately 5 cars the whole way from Alice Springs to here thus far. I'm about 360 k's north of Alice at this stage. Thankfully, it means that there's no road trains or caravans out, because I normally spend at least 50% of my time overtaking them, which does get a bit wearing after a while. Anyway, we're about to get to Whitecliff Well Roadhouse, and Whitecliff Well is apparently the UFO capital of Australia. I've no idea why, it just claims that it is. Over a bridge. I don't know how well this view is going to come out on the camera in that position, but if you ever wanted to see what miles and miles and miles of absolutely nothing looks like, there you go. Interesting, isn't it? This place would be great if it had scenery. As you can see, there is all manner of weird alien stuff around here, murals on the wall, the whole lot. It's certainly an interesting place, but I really have no idea why it is the UFO capital of Australia. But hey, you can even stay here if you want. They have like a campsite and caravan sites and a bunkhouse and everything, if you're so inclined. After all the creepiness and weirdness we've had today, I figured we'll finish with something truly spectacular. I often lament the lack of scenery that you have to look at on long drives across the Outback like this. But when you do get patches of scenery, my God, does the Outback deliver. And this is definitely one of those places. Behind me are the Devil's Marbles, or Carlu Carlu to give them their Aboriginal name. And what they are is basically this massive field of freestanding sandstone boulders, which are often really precariously balanced one on top of each other. They're absolutely huge and one of the most spectacular sights you'll see in this part of the world. I'd love to be able to give you a detailed account of how they were formed and all that, but geology isn't my strong suit, unfortunately. Bloody amazing place though. I mean, check that out. Utterly spectacular. Just big lumps of erosion-resistant sandstone. This place has a lot of spiritual significance to the local Aboriginal people. It was traditionally a men's meeting site. I can see why they would have venerated such a place. Spectacular. Alright folks, better get to Tennant. That's my lot for today. I hope you all had a really good Christmas. Good luck.